Hello, and welcome to the Direct Approach podcast with Wayne Morehead, an exclusive podcast by DSN filled with candid and insightful conversations with leading corporate executives about today's evolving direct sales channel. In this episode, Wayne talks with Paulo Moledo, President and CEO of Hy Cite. Wayne and Paulo delve into the significance of trust, respect, and open communication in navigating the delicate balance of honoring your company's legacy while propelling it toward the future. Paulo brings extensive finance and general management experience from his global roles at Ford Motor Company and AOL. With 16 years focused in direct selling, he emphasizes sustainable growth and audience engagement. Holding a bachelor's in economics from Brazil and an MBA from the University of Miami, Paulo transitioned to general management in 2010 after his finance career. This episode is full of takeaways covering everything from fostering a transparent environment, prioritizing people, aligning with your mission, precision rebranding, responsible AI deployment, effective marketing to the Hispanic and Latino community, and so much more. But before we begin, DSN is honored to be supported by industry suppliers that partner with companies across the channel to help enhance, streamline, and grow your businesses. This episode is sponsored by CP and Krell Group. Did you know that the average cost of one bad hire is nearly $15,000? By bringing 25 years of executive level experience with direct selling and speaking 5 languages, the CP and Krell Group knows what it looks like to have a success in a diverse and international environment. Specializing in the beauty, wellness, and fashion industries, their omni-channel approach allows them to have access to a pool of candidates with experience in various channels beyond direct sales. The CP and Krell team leverages invaluable insight into what it takes to recruit top talent. And by promoting diversity, 92% of their candidates hired in the last 18 months had an ethnically diverse background, with 85% speaking at least 2 languages. Because landing a more sophisticated brand of talent takes a more sophisticated recruiting strategy, the CP and Krell Group is your ideal partner to attract the industry's most substantial talent. Visit cpkrell.com, that is CPKRELL.com, to learn more. The talent of tomorrow discovered today. Now, please help me welcome your host, Wayne Morehead, and CEO and President of Hy Cite, Paulo Moledo.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of DSN's Direct Approach podcast. As always, I'm your host, Wayne Morehead, and today's guest has had an impressive career, both in and outside of the direct selling channel. He earned a degree in economics in Brazil and followed that with an MBA from the University of Miami. He began his career on the finance side, but quickly moved into general management, working at some of the most well-known companies in the world, like Ford Motor Company and AOL. He spent the last 16 years in the direct selling channel, also at many well-known brands. Most of his assignments have been there at the headquarters, but he has had some stints internationally as well. I am honored to welcome President and CEO of Hy Cite, Paulo Moledo. Paulo, thank you for being here.
Wayne, my pleasure. It's an honor. I'm excited to be here. As I told you before, I have been watching your podcast for quite some time with the dream to be here one day, and it's happening. So you're making my day.
Well, that's great. Well, again, the honor is ours at DSN, and I feel lucky to be able to speak to inspiring leaders such as yourself. I learned so much with each and every conversation. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about the path that led you from the Fortune 500 world into the world of direct selling.
I think the answer is easy for that one, Wayne, is relationship, right? We work with brilliant minds throughout our career if we are lucky, and I have been very lucky. So the movements from one company to another throughout my career was mostly driven by people that I knew, and they invited me to new projects, and that was the same when it came to direct selling. I joined a big direct selling company 16 years ago with the goal to be leading the finance area for the Latin America region. And that went extremely well. I got into general management in an international assignment in South America. It went very well. So after a while, you fall in love with direct selling, and you don't want to do anything else. And that has been the case. My third company, direct selling, and I feel that what we do adds a lot of value to our community, and that makes me very happy.
That's great. It is amazing, I think, how much our relationships, our networks, our circle of influence ends up impacting so many aspects of our lives. But I know for me, especially on the career side, I've been really fortunate to have great relationships with people that see a need, whether it's marketing or something, and end up reaching out. But yes, I don't know where I would be without my relationships as well. They've really led me to all the wonderful things in my career that have happened for sure. So I would love to start off. A lot of times we'll kind of do a little bit of some warm-up questions, but I want to jump right into the strategy deep end today and get your perspective on some of the interesting changes and forces and dynamics relating to the direct selling industry today, and specifically the direct selling model itself. We've seen in the last few to several years almost kind of a redefining of what it means to be a direct selling company. And by that, I mean, we see a lot of companies from retail, from direct to consumer, that start adding that person-to-person component or multi-tiered commission structures. And on the direct selling side, we've kind of done the same. So we've kind of moved into, at least some of the companies have kind of moved into a little bit more of an omni-channel approach, embracing platforms and programs like Amazon and affiliate and others. And I know that you feel really strongly about this, and it's really informed your go-forward strategy there. Can you share a little bit of your thoughts on some of these changes and dynamics that you're seeing today and the impact that it's having on all of us?
Yes, of course. As you said, I'm passionate about that because I love the strategic side of it, Wayne. What are we trying to achieve? What are we trying to gain from testing different ways of doing direct selling? I have been, for 16 years, as I told you, doing different stuff. I have tried digital, I have tried retail, I have tried sticking to the model, more incentives, more products, promotions. So we learn a lot throughout the way, but ultimately I try to see what is my value proposition? What am I trying to achieve? Can I connect that to the company mission? And today, that's what we have been doing. We have a company mission. We know what we're trying to achieve, and then we try to stick to that. I believe that we are gonna have endless models in direct selling. I find nothing wrong on going omni-channel. I find nothing wrong on trying affiliate programs. None of that. But I always think that as a leader, I'm trying to match these initiatives to my company mission and what am I trying to give to the stakeholders in terms of added value. Am I adding value to the independent distributor if I am going to Amazon or getting an affiliated program? Am I adding value to my customer if I provide different ways of acquiring my product? So that's how I see that. So I try to match the mission, the company strategy, and then do everything around it. So I hate the idea of pick and choose. Oh, I like this company doing this company is doing that. And you create a Frankenstein. That's when I think some of the companies may get it wrong.
Gotcha. By not having kind of a clear positioning or a clear point of view, possibly, trying to be everything to everybody. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
Yes, because we tend to believe, oh, it's just another initiative. Just give to that group of people and they will get it done. It's a lot of effort for our organization to do stuff outside the core model. You have to adapt systems, distribution model. We create a lot of work as leaders by having these wonderful ideas and assigning them for people to execute them. And then you look back and say, oh, did I add value? Did I get incremental sales? Did I get incremental profit? Or have I just created incremental work for my people without really getting meaningful results? Meaningful results for me, it's critical. And it's not easy because we all have great ideas every week. So having good people around you, and I'm glad I do, to say, hey, Paulo, great idea, but let's talk about the strategy again. So we always talk about the strategy, what we're trying to achieve, our mission, and we say no to new ideas a lot. Wait, that's one thing that I learned throughout my career. You have to learn to say no. It's very tempting to do it all, but saying no keeps you aligned to your strategy.
I think that's really, really important. I love what you just said, kind of the power of saying no from a strategic perspective, because as you say, no to some things, you're saying yes to others, and kind of vice versa. And it is really easy. I've been for a couple decades now part of quarterly and annual planning processes, and it's really easy to kind of add something, add one more initiative that you think, I think maybe we underestimate the amount of work and resources, or even the impact, and at times the distraction that it can be for the field. I think we're all really well served going back and kind of editing. I was able to work with a large CPG brand at one point in my career that we would all be very familiar with. And one of their main kind of strategic rallying cries was edit to amplify. So taking things away allows you to shine more of a focus on certain things, and allows you to really kind of double down on certain strategic decisions and strategic initiatives. I think this kind of approach that you have, this thought process around the business model, and really wanting to focus on what direct selling is at its core, also had a big impact on how you've kind of repositioned the company a little bit. I know you went through kind of a refining or refreshing of the brand positioning. Can you talk a little bit about how this directed that initiative around your repositioning and refreshing of the brand?
Well, Hy Cite is a family-owned company. It has been with the same family for more than 60 years. And for the first two generations, managed by the family. So I am the first non-family member CEO. I came to the company 4 years ago as part of the transition, and became president right away, and then CEO, accumulating the functions a year or so ago. And as part of this, we love what we do. We really love what we have going on, but we have been very shy for a long time. That's just what we were. But as we were growing, we have been growing consistently for decades. The last time we didn't grow was in the crisis of 2008. Other than that, we have been growing. We felt that we want to be part of the direct selling community with a louder voice. We want to be an active member, promoting the industry, bringing people to see the great impact that we have in society, in our communities. So we felt that rebranding the company was the right moment. We got to $500 million in revenue last year. We were having a good ride. We said, this is the time that we need to start telling our story, so others see that direct selling in multiple ways, not just ours, but in multiple ways, can continue to be a very strong force. And that's what we did. We said, let's rebrand the company. Well, let's be proud of what we're doing. Let's be somehow aggressive with our slogan, direct selling the way it's meant to be. And I would love to explain what that means. But that's what we did. We wanted to be visible, a force for the industry, not for us, for the industry, showing that direct selling is still alive, strong, and people can believe in its power.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that is most interesting to me, and I think important from a strategic perspective, is going through this process and with the outcome, around direct selling the way it's meant to be, is how closely the linking is between the company positioning and the business model itself, where a lot of companies focus on what they sell. In some way, Hy Cite focused on how they sell it and really focused on the model. Can you talk about why it was so important to link it so closely to the business model itself?
Because it's connected to our mission. once you establish a mission for your company, for your employees, they will follow, right? So our mission talks about making distributors successful, independent distributors successful. It doesn't talk about putting a beautiful piece of cookware in everybody's house. It talks about giving an opportunity for people to be successful with direct selling. So we can't deviate our activities from that. So connecting the slogan to our mission was a natural way of doing things. If we have something great happening and we want to strengthen the industry, might as well connect both, and that's what we did. We have very clear the stakeholders, independent distributors, clients, the one consuming our products, shareholders, employees. So we consider all that into one model and try to make that work.
I love that you just mentioned how the mission informed your strategy, because I feel like with so many of our brands, the mission can end up being an afterthought. It can be, something where we shove all these cliches and slogans from the company, and it just kind of sits there on our About Us page on our website. But I do feel the brands that take the time to really define their mission, to define the positioning, to define their vision and purpose, all of these are different, are the ones that really last the longest and the ones that have the clearest strategies and the clearest positioning. So I love that you use the mission as really kind of that anchor point for the entire go forward strategy. I also think it's really interesting how you used this positioning, focusing on the business model to really inform and focus on the target audience that you're going after, the one that you're delivering the value to. For example, I know you talk about targeting entrepreneurs that are looking to earn a full-time income rather than what a lot of other direct selling companies are moving to right now, or talking about kind of more earning extra cash every month. It's kind of a smaller goal, maybe even more of a short-term goal. Can you talk about the audience that you're going after and why you're focusing and kind of doubling down on that versus more of kind of that short-term benefit?
Yeah, we do that because we want to win. In the end, there's a beautiful mission. We have the company values, but we are also very ambitious business people, and we want to win. We want to win in the industry. We want to grow. We want to deliver profitable returns to shareholders and employees. And in order to do that, we need to differentiate ourselves. If we're going to do everything that everybody does, I am a commodity as a business model, as a product. So we felt, what can we do to differentiate ourselves from everybody? And that became, I wish we could say, hey, we were all brilliant people, we all did that in a war room. No, it was a natural evolution of the business, but learning from where you are. So today, everything we do goes around that. I will not create a product that does not support that strategic objective. I'm not a launch a promotion or anything that doesn't go with that. So we're trying to be different. We're trying to win in the industry. I believe there are a tremendous number of entrepreneurs trying to find a full-time opportunity instead of jumping from one to another. And we felt that retention will be better if we provide a higher income opportunity. We don't need to deal with recruiting as that massive monthly recruiting. We don't need that because we have more stability and the conversation becomes a lot easier. So it's today, 6 years later, easy to say, but hard to implement if that's, but it's working for us. And today we are not moving from finding people that wants to be doing this as a full-time. Of course, we have part-time, we allow everybody to come in, but we are very transparent from the very beginning about the expectations.
I think that's great. And one of the important things to also understand is around having the focus of a certain target audience is you're always going to have kind of the secondary or tertiary audience. But if you focus on your core, if you identify that core audience that you're going after and do all things to serve and attract them, you end up winning. It's when we try, again, to message to everybody and be everything to everyone, that strategy ends up falling apart. So I love, again, that you were very clear and were very intentional with a very defined target audience and strategy to reach that audience. Again, that's how companies win. And I love that you use the word win. That was the focus, to win for everybody, for all of the stakeholders. Can you talk a little bit about the process of developing this strategy? What worked, maybe what didn't work? How did you roll it out internally successfully? But what was the approach? Was it getting all of the executives in a room? Was it going through some framework? What did you find successful in developing and rolling out the strategy?
Yeah, I have been very lucky. Of course, I came to Hy Cite because I knew the company was very stable, and I felt, I'm getting to a certain moment in my life that I don't want to do turnarounds anymore. I want to, be with a group that they know what they're doing. So I came to this company knowing that we were already doing great stuff, but we became more ambitious at that moment, right? The company was growing. We brought more people from the outside. And we went to outside hotel. We went to a hotel. We brought the VPs. We spent several days there discussing. It was very intense. I remember people having doubts. Why do you think that we can grow faster? So, well, we can, because if we do this and that. So we made several decisions at that point in time, when that was challenging us professionally to be better, more efficient, and it worked. One of the great discussions that we had was, what's more important, the employee or the independent distributor? And it was a very intense discussion. And we said, I had a very well-established position. Employees number one. Employees comes first. And that's what our company says. Employees are the number one priority for us at Hy Cite. And why is that? Well, because I need employees to be stable here, to be happy, to be engaged, so they have the resources, they are well trained. Then they will always do the right thing for the company. And by doing the right things for the company, they will do the right things for the independent distributor. So these strategic decisions, discussions happen with all the VPs in a hotel room and the meeting room, and it worked. And we do that very consistently now. We have a 4-year plan. We review that on a quarterly basis. Every product has assigned resources. We don't start a new project if we don't have resources and people to do that. So it helped to guide the company. And as people know where we are going, we start celebrating the achievements, and you create a virtuous circle.
There's a couple things I want to circle back on right there. I loved and found it really interesting, the discussion around, employees. I'll say employee first versus distributor or consultant first. Internally, we always talk about we're customer driven, we're distributor driven. This is our focus. This is who we serve. But I think it is an important distinction that you made, that without having the team internally that's happy and committed, you're really not able to deliver any value to the distributor or the downstream customer from there. So I think it is important. I know there's definitely times where I've probably forgotten that in my career. The other thing that I think is really interesting in what you mentioned is really kind of this environment, it seems like, that you developed and created there, where people could debate and discuss and at times probably disagree. The important thing is to ultimately walk out aligned around a strategy. But I think far too often we will defer to whoever the leader is, the CEO, the president, whoever's kind of running the company. And we may not always get the best result if that's the environment that we create internally. Can you talk about that? Has that been something that has been very intentional? Part of your leadership style is creating this culture where debate and discussion is encouraged and allowed?
It's very, very much intentional, Wayne. I wish I could say we're perfect. We are far away from being perfect, but we try really hard. One of the things that we have is all the executives are in one area, in the office, and we are all in the same area, side by side. So all my VPs are 10 meters away from my office. with a few exceptions where they are in different countries. But that allows us to talk all the time and have a closer personal relationship and develop this trust that is so much needed to build a company. We also have passion for communication. The entire company, they know everything that we do, where we are, what's happening today, the results, the bonus. It's the same for everybody, managers and above. It's the same. So we tell them what's happening, what's not happening. We have monthly, or if we miss a month, bi-monthly meetings with all the employees, 1,600 of them. We bring them together. We're doing 3 languages all at once. So we believe in that power. We have our internal slogan, one team, one Hy Cite. Everybody believes in that. We have our internal Facebook group. We put where we are. Everybody can contribute to see. So we keep that very informal in a certain way, but the trust is there. And that allows us to speak up when needed. We get nervous. We go outside. We walk in the parking lot. We come back and life goes on.
That's great. I definitely think we get the best result, the best outcome when there is a diversity of voices and opinions that can be discussed and debated and then come out aligned.
2024 marks DSN's 20th anniversary, and we invite you to celebrate monumental milestones with us at the biggest and best events yet. Get ready for a year of global expansion featuring more events, more value, and more content than ever before. We invite you and your team to mark your calendars to secure your spot to be in the room, at the table, and in the conversations. Our spring events, taking place April 2nd through April 4th, will be extraordinary. This includes the annual Global Celebration and Awards event with live music with the Free Radicals Band this year, the invitation-only CEO Forum, and 2 full days of DSU, all taking place at the Irving Convention Center in Irving, Texas, located just 15 minutes from DFW Airport and Love Field. Register now for the spring events at dsnevents.com. DSU remains free for all active corporate direct selling executives, and tickets for the in-person Global Celebration and Awards event can also be purchased at dsnevents.com. A reminder that DSN supporter companies have access to a set number of tickets as part of your benefits to the Global Celebration and Awards. If you have any questions about your benefits, please visit directsellingnews.com or contact our team at events@directsellingnews.com. This episode is also sponsored by Thatcher Technology Group. Are you ready for what's next? With Thatcher Technology Group, adapt faster, scale smarter, and grow more sustainably with Ascend, a headless, microservice-based direct selling solution empowering your business with unparalleled flexibility and scalability. Ascend to what's next by visiting thatchertech.com to learn more. That's ThatcherTech.com. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Another really important dynamic that's happening in direct selling is the increasing focus and efforts to attract and support the Hispanic and Latino community and audience. This, as you know, as you mentioned, this has been a big topic in recent DSU and even a recent webinar that DSU did. This is something that Hy Cite has been really successful at. It's been a big part of your strategy for the last few decades. Can you talk a little bit about some of your thoughts on this and the importance of approaching this audience in an authentic and genuine way?
Yeah. You know, in life, you got to be lucky once in a while, right? And Hy Cite got very, very lucky with this Hispanic being part of the business. So more than 25 years ago, we were, if I may call, a general market company like most others. We, only English speaking was part of the company. And a first Hispanic independent distributor approached the CEO, Mr. Peter Johnson Sr. at that time, the company founder, and said, I want to sell your products. And the normal answer was, no, you can't. We don't speak Spanish. I wouldn't know what to do with you. And he was very persistent. Ramon Parada is his name. He's still in the company today, with second generation running his business, and he grew exponentially from the very beginning. Years later, the big decision should be made, Wayne. What do we do now that we have the Hispanic group growing very fast and the other one not growing as fast? The decision was to let's split the company, which I had the chance to do in the past and I didn't do. I made the decision not to do it in my previous life. I couldn't understand, and today I said, wow, it was so obvious. So the Hispanic group grew a lot internally. We decided to keep Royal Prestige as a brand just for them. We created a second brand for the other group that would allow the culture to be maintained at the events and the communication, simplify processes internally. And for the past 30 years or so, this is a company that only speaks Spanish and Portuguese because of our business in Brazil.
That is incredible. It really gets back to something you talked about earlier around the power of saying no. As you say yes to one audience or one focus, you're potentially saying no to the other. And again, the benefit of that is having focus. And I think it's also really impressive that the company made tough decisions and put clear lines in around where their focus and efforts were going to be. Again, far too often, I think we don't draw those clear lines. We don't want to say no to anybody. Yep. So we keep kind of opening the aperture wider and wider and wider until potentially our positioning can become muddy. Our focus can become, a little bit unclear as well. And so I think that's so powerful that you really kind of said yes and simultaneously kind of, said no to where your focus is going to be. And it obviously did work out and did pay off dividends greatly down the road. What do you feel some of the important kind of dynamics or differences are, or things to understand in marketing to this audience and community?
That's a great question. And I have to say, I have a slightly different view versus what I hear, right? I hear people putting a lot of attention into the details. Oh, the translation has to be perfect. Oh, you had to understand the Colombian versus the Mexican versus the Venezuelan. And I think they are putting way too much attention into that. If you want to talk about Latinos in the US, all these details for me are secondary to the business opportunity. Imagine this, when people came here, right? They left their countries. They came here looking for what? They're looking for an opportunity to make a living. They are looking for what can they do to be better than where they were and if they're second generation, third generation, still the same. So more than the perfect translation, the perfect picture, we think about the best business opportunity. How can I take care of them, make sure that they have what they need as an entrepreneur to stay with us? Retention. We measure our success based on retention, not recruiting. It's retention. So if people are happy with us. So the Latinos, they want a business opportunity. If it's, we made a choice, right? We made a choice to work with them. We made a choice not to go omni-channel. We made a choice to look for a specific profile of distributors. Now we have to honor that. But we have found that the Hispanic people, they want the opportunity. Everything else, they will deal with that. The accent is not perfect because I have a call center in Colombia providing service in the US to everybody from all markets. So I can make everybody speak the same accent, and it's fine. The marketing group, yeah, they understand. Is it perfect? No. But the business opportunity is where we put the emphasis.
I think that's really great. Another interesting aspect is how this focus also informed your product and brand strategy with developing a line specifically targeting this audience and developing a brand from a brand architecture standpoint, specifically targeting and supporting and providing value to this audience. Can you talk about how the importance of that, about having kind of these purpose-built product lines or products for audiences?
Yes, I can talk from two different aspects. The customer aspect, so we develop products that we believe will be well desired by our customers, distributors' customers, And distributors really helped us a lot in developing these lines. They bring a lot of ideas to us. One, for instance, we call chocolatera, hot milk in Colombia. It's a daily thing, daily thing. Everybody will drink hot milk in Colombia, and they have a special product for that. We developed one, but who else drinks hot milk? In what other places? They don't. So the same product, we put a different purpose, and will be used in the Dominican Republic for cold water instead of hot milk. But ultimately, we find a way. The culture for the products is very important, and we have developed several products that we take to the test phase, and we say, nope, it didn't work, so go back, and we have no problem saying we're not going to launch that. Second one, price point. We make sure that we get the product at the right price point. For the distributor, they need to be able to make money. I could have a much larger portfolio, but I need to stick to one that will allow them to make money. So we have a certain target price that we also use to develop products. If I cannot reach a certain margin or product price, I don't go forward.
That's really interesting. I want to kind of slip in a question, kind of a tactical question here. You mentioned product development, and I'm curious how Hy Cite approaches that. Is it kind of more centralized, and you bring, different products and potential products to the markets? Do the markets request? How does that kind of product development or stage gate process work?
Yeah, no, everything is centralized here. And in management, it's all centralized. We are present in 8 markets. Outside the US, we have Mexico, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, Brazil, Argentina, Dominican Republic. But we don't have local general managers. We tried, it didn't work for us. So we are a matrix organization from all the markets that includes product development. So from here, it's a lot easier to control everybody. It's not perfect. It has pros and cons, but we felt that as a company, it's a lot easier to be with less people and one global strategy. And that's what we do. So product development is centralized here. We outsource a lot of the development once the idea has been put in place, once we have tested, once we understand market size, then we outsource development. We work with third parties.
So drafting off of that, how does that impact this kind of centralized approach? How does that impact how you operate in the US versus global expansion?
We went to South America about 9 years ago, give or take. We were there before, but not in an organized fashion. 9 years ago, we decided, okay, it's time to grow in South America. And we put one person leading that, but reporting here. And today, South America is about 20% of our business. Mexico is 30, and the US is 50. And again, it's not perfect. Brazil has different needs, and sometimes we don't really pay attention to that because the US is 50%. I have other priorities. Brazil is still growing. So it's not perfect, but it's better. We tried the general management before, and then it's hard to get traction with the global people. So we felt, okay, let's go back to the strategy. If Brazil is a priority for us, we're going to give them resources. If it's not, we won't. And everything gets discussed in our operational meetings, but we manage everything centrally from Madison, Wisconsin. It's crazy.
No, that's amazing. Honestly, it's really amazing. And again, it's in some ways different from how a lot of companies operate. I want to come back to that time that you tried. The pendulum always swings between centralized and decentralized, it seems like. And I'm curious, what didn't work? You talked a little bit about the general management. What are some of the other things that made it challenging when you had, a general manager or a presence in each and every market?
It was before my time.
Okay.
So I only hear the stories, but it happened in Brazil. Brazil was so different than, okay, we need a general manager there. But then what happens is you start creating your own strategy. And for my previous experience, it worked extremely well. We had endless number of markets, and every market had their own product line, everything, and it worked. So it's all about what do you want to do? What's your strategy? For us, it didn't work because we have one compensation plan globally, one system that everybody works from globally. Everything was already global. So when you put a general manager, you start giving them the idea that they will have power to do different stuff, but we cannot execute because he's tied to all the system, consolidated product line. So everything was already global. So trying to do something different there became very difficult. We localize stuff. Of course, we are not that rigid, but we do that through the VPs of each area nowadays, and that has worked. So that's the main issue. People, when you put people in positions, right, they want to do stuff. So you bring more people, they want to do more, and sometimes bringing more people doesn't really help the overall strategy. Even for this year, when we're doing the budget for 2024, and say, oh, we need these 2 new VPs, and everybody look at each other and said, can we not do it? Because integrating people is difficult. So we try to work with what we have, at least as much as possible.
I think that speaks so much to the strategy and the culture that you've created there. Again, you make a decision, you set a strategy, and you align everything to that strategy. How you're structured internally, how you do product development, the audience that you're going after, all of these things are really just kind of downstream outcomes of that initial strategy. And again, I think that is really impressive that you're able to align so many aspects of the business to the strategy. So you mentioned the growth. The company has had incredible sustainable growth, double-digit CAGR for decades now. What do you feel are some of the most important elements that have contributed to that continued success?
We all go in the same direction, right? So we know we need retention. Retention is critical for us, stability, not trying to chase the shiny object all the time, saying no, and I will repeat myself, but saying no is critical every day. Then giving a real opportunity. The recruiting becomes a lot easier if the person that is coming with the opportunity to another one is capable of saying what his or she or him has achieved. And consumers must be treated with extremely emphasis on service. We have that emphasis on service for the distributor because we know we compete with retail. We know we compete with e-commerce. They can buy similar products in other places. How do I bring value? So that all that has been part of our desire, right? Creating one holistic business model that does think about the distributor, about the consumers, about the employees, about the shareholders, sticking to that.
Thank you for that. So I want to zoom out a little bit, kind of up above the company and getting back a little bit to the channel. I know one of the things that you're really passionate about that extends from your love for the business model itself is really protecting that model and protecting the business channel and championing the business model. So can you talk about the importance of kind of working collectively to build and support and protect the channel? What are some of the ways that we can do this?
Many ways. One is the different associations that we have. The direct selling, DSN, DSU, all those things are great. So we learn from each other, but being very transparent. We have to be transparent with all stakeholders. We gotta have very transparent ways of doing business when recruiting, very transparent ways with clients. So we try to be part of the industry nowadays, promoting that transparency in the industry. If I bring somebody to show that they can be an entrepreneur and make an X amount of dollars, I need to really be able to show that without any fear whatsoever. And I don't want to take the 1%. I need to be able to find a way to show that most people can. We all know regulators love to talk about our industry. And after 60 years, we believe we have many more decades ahead of us. and we need to protect the channel. How do we protect the channel? Being together, self-regulating, being very transparent on income claims. I love that. I wish we could have very well-defined income claims, how to service the clients, all the policies for returns, all that has to be very transparent. I think companies need to understand that clients and distributors are not the same. We have a very clear distinction between clients and distributors. There is no overlap whatsoever. So being able to show that your sales are going to clients, yeah, I believe it's important. I really believe it is. If I am pushing inventory through distributors, it may not be a sustainable model in the future. So we are ready, eager to be part of any discussion on how to make direct selling stronger. And that's why we are part of the DSA. That's why we're coming here. That's why we are going to every single opportunity to talk about direct selling. Is still very strong, can be strong, will be strong with companies like us that believe that the earning opportunity and amazing products that have real demand have a place in this world.
I think that transparency that you mentioned really illustrates kind of our greatest opportunity, as well as a lot of the past challenges that we've had as a channel. When you're transparent and clear in setting and meeting customer and distributor expectations, that's really where the value is. You know, this is what the product is. This is the income opportunity. The product does A, B, and C. When we set and manage and meet those expectations, we leave an incredible number of satisfied customers and distributors. When we're not transparent, when we aren't clear on those expectations or don't meet them, that's where we leave a bunch of unsatisfied customers and distributors. So I think that's really important that you talked about the need for that transparency going forward. So what do direct selling companies need to do to continue to attract tomorrow's entrepreneurs? Anything differently, or is it, again, stay the course?
Well, who am I to talk about other companies, right? I go back to, as a leader, what are you trying to achieve? And if you're trying to achieve, putting products in everybody's homes, you have one way of doing that. Direct selling must be protected by being transparent. Even if you are omni-channel, the part that is related to direct selling, be transparent, honor what you say, make sure that clients and distributors, independent distributors, have a very clear line there. If we are using affiliate models and things like that, which is beautiful, I wish I had part of that, my business in that perhaps, but transparency, to use different stakeholders as what is not intended to be, that's when I think we get in trouble. And we ask ourselves, Wayne, how did we get into this situation? Why do we have a glass ceiling? Why do we have people looking at MLM with negative perceptions? That's what we analyze. Okay, the exercise that we do is the following. FTC comes through our door today. What are we going to say? Are we ready to answer all the questions? That's how we manage the company nowadays relative to protecting the channel. That's
great. I want to kind of start wrapping up with a couple leadership questions. You mentioned you kind of joined the company that had been family run for a lot of years. So I'm curious, as you were coming in and kind of taking over the helm there, how did you balance kind of honoring the legacy, the incredible foundation that the company has built, with also looking to the future and saying, look, here's a couple areas in the company we may need to evolve a bit? How did you kind of balance that and find your footing?
Very, very, very carefully.
I'm sure, yeah.
Trust and respect. So we were very honest with each other. So the company owner, two brothers, Peter and Eric, we have been very transparent. Said, okay, you're coming here. You are going to take my place eventually, but you will have a lot of opportunities to bring your own ideas. So we were very transparent. We use an outsider to help us with the transition. I think it was extremely well executed. A person that made us talk to each other. for a year and a half. Okay, Paulo, you have new ideas. How are you going to do this? So I know he's the company owner, so it's not my company. I'm here working for him. So I don't want to do anything that goes against his values or what he wants for his company, but I have my own ideas. So what do? We talk. I am not naive or stupid to do anything that is extremely different for the past without talking to him first. But the beauty is we have been able to make a huge amount of changes recently with all his agreement, the rebranding. I remember the rebranding day. How can you imagine going to the company owner and say, we're going to rebrand your company, we're going to have a new logo, a new slogan, everything. And because we have this trust, we had the conversation, we presented the results. And the following day, I remember asking him, tell me exactly what happened at your dinner table last night. You told your wife, Amy, you have no idea what Paulo is doing to my company. He's changing the logo, he's changing everything. And he said, yeah, that's what I did, but I will support you. It's the right thing for the company. We need to keep evolving. Innovation is critical to stay alive. So he understands, and that's what we do. But we have a lot of fun together, challenging ourselves, talking. So we got to respect and trust that together we are better.
Well, it sounds like you've navigated it well, and it's been an incredible relationship between you and the owners, the family there. So again, I think it speaks to both of you. And I love that you focused on trust and communication in navigating that transition. You've had an incredible career in and out of the channel. As you look back, what do you feel is one of the most important leadership lessons that you've learned?
Oh, you got to listen. Wayne, it took me a long time to start listening to people. We start doing well and we believe we have all the answers. It's very hard to listen. I love collaboration. So I try to bring people to collaborate, and that's very, very hard. But that makes the company successful. And my goal, a primary goal of ours, is to have the employees happy, be a wonderful environment for people to come on a daily basis, not from home, come to the office. We give them that. Gotta give my message, right? So we try to create a great company, and we believe everything will come as a consequence of that. So I learned that listening is very important. Giving an environment when people feel that they can speak up, they can bring ideas, and they won't be judged, or we are actually gonna pay attention to what they are saying. That's the fun part. But it takes a while. It took me a while to get there, because before it was business, and the people came second. The moment I put people first, the business started to turn around.
That's so powerful. And that says so much about you as an individual and as a leader. Paulo, thank you so much for sharing all these great insights. I am going to go back and listen to this a few times. There are some incredible strategic insights around the power of focus, around the power of saying no, and also having the fortitude to make tough decisions and draw clear lines. I think there's so much in there. I want to go back and listen to this. Thank you again for all you do for the channel as a whole, for being such a great champion. Please give our best to everybody back there at the home office at Hy Cite. And thank you again for your time.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in. Please take a minute to give a 5-star rating and review to help Direct Approach continue to provide more candid interviews and insights for corporate executives. And please register you and your team now for the Spring 20th Anniversary Celebration events taking place April 2nd through April 4th in Irving, Texas. You can register at dsnevents.com. Thank you for listening and supporting DSN and the Direct Approach podcast.